Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Hello. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live here from the range with your host, John Johnson. I'm the owner and operator of a firearms training facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. We do have people in the range this evening, so you will hear some banging and shooting in the back. I apologize about that, but we are an active gun range, and there could be times that people are here shooting, which is okay. That's how we get paid. So if someone's in the back shooting, I'm making money, which in turn I can continue to do what I do. Hope you're doing wonderful this evening. If you're new to the live, please comment. Let us know you're new to the live and tell us where you're from and who you are. And we will give you a big shout out. And thank you very much for finding the live for us. We appreciate that very much. If you have been here before, you can always say hello like Phil just did. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate you being here, buddy. We appreciate you always each week. Phil was one of our students that did the master class with us. And now he's going to do the handgun training system next. And Phil is becoming a better shooter with it. We appreciate you, Phil, very much so. So how has the week been so far? My week has been a challenge. I can tell you we had car problems. My truck was in the shop to put new tires on. And the guy who I've known for many years, and I drop my truck off and pick it back up in about a day. Friday night, he had a heart attack. He's okay, but he's not 100%. And my truck's sitting on a rack in his store until it gets better. So let's put us one car behind. And then yesterday, Miss Heidi's wonderful truck broke down. So we were down to one vehicle, and that was Jacob's 2015 S10. And there's three of us, and that is not going to work. So we had to rent a car today for a week, and they're pretty proud of the cars that they rent nowadays. So it put us in a little bit of a day. We're moving, so we got the house all in boxes. And we finally got the okay from one place to the other to move. And looks like 4th of July is not going to be about fireworks. It's going to be about moving boxes. So we are starting to see some movement up front to get us through to the next stage of our life. Me and Miss Johnson and Jacob moving into a new home. It's a nice place. It's not in Cape Coral anymore. It's in North Fort Myers, but that's okay. We're all right. So as we do these each week, we try to play on some training and some education for you. I believe that this is a good one this week. It kind of gives you 10 of the most common, 10 of the most not common tips for handgun accuracy. And you guys like these because sometimes I say something that you haven't heard before. And I think the ones that are not so common tips are going to be pretty educational for you and give you a little bit of those aha moments. So obviously when we are doing these, you can make comments and we will answer them if they are proceeding to what we need. And if not, we'll come back and answer a question as we go. So as far as I am right now, you guys can hear me. Hello. Hey, how you doing, Bandit? Appreciate you being here. I appreciate it very much. We are live tonight on Facebook. We are live tonight on YouTube. And we are live tonight on Rumble. Now, you comment on Rumble, we don't see it. Sorry. You got to get to YouTube or Facebook to see any kind of comment, but that is where it is. And Rumble is part of our stuff that we're doing here. And we do these every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Let's do some commercials real quick. One is our ebooks. If you haven't got one of our ebooks, guys, our ebooks are on our website. And what are the ebooks about? They're about grip and stance and trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment. If you want one of our free ebooks and you have not received one before, go to my YouTube channel, or you can go to my Facebook page, or you can go to the link down below in the description of this live and go to our website. And our website has a shop in it. Pick one of the books themselves. Kurt Richards, thank you very much for being here. Pick one of the books, put it in your cart, put free book at checkout, and it's yours for free. Now, those books are on sale for their regular price is $3.99. We still have those on sale for $2.99. So if you want to add a few more books to your cart, it would not hurt my feelings, and you would be supporting a family-owned business like mine, which I would appreciate very much. What are the books about? They're about grip and stance and trigger control and sight picture and sight alignment, everything you need to know to be a better shooter, coming from me to you with as much knowledge as I can give you on each topic. It's going to help you tremendously. Speaking of knowledge, we have our Handgun training system. Handgun training system is a monthly subscription. What do you get for the Handgun training system? You get 4 targets each week. You get 4 PowerPoint presentations. You get 4 descriptions and videos to explain the drill for the week. And then you get personal feedback and you get a downloadable PDF of the target. And you need to go to the range, shoot your target, turn it in for us to look at. From there, we're going to help you become a better shooter. We've lowered that price down to $29.99. That's 1 month working with me with 4 targets, 4 things you can do at the range, different than what you've been doing, and it will improve your accuracy. If you're interested in any of that stuff, you can go ahead and click the link down below. Or if you would like to comment, say, send me some more information, I will send you the link through tonight if you want to see it. It's a great way. We put everybody who was in the masterclass into this program next, and it's been benefiting them tremendously. The cool thing about it, we've been doing the Handgun training system for about 3 months now. So not only are you going to get your targets from now on, there are probably 15 targets on there already. Targets, descriptions, videos, PDF forms, all the things you need. So you're going to have a full database of targets you've never seen. So you'll have 3 months, almost 4 months by the time we're done with this thing, of PDF targets that you can go to the range and shoot and build your accuracy on top of each other. So the great thing about that is it gives you something or a drill a week to help you build your confidence, and with confidence does come accuracy. And we do have all of those on our course system. In the course system itself, you can actually take a picture of your target, download it into the course, and each week I look at those and we do some one-on-one contacts. Thank you for those hearts, guys. Thank you for those hearts. I appreciate you very much for giving us thumbs up and hearts. I appreciate it very much. So it gives you the ability to understand. That's the key thing. That's what we tried to put together more than anything else, is let's take a student, let's identify what their problems are, and let's help them solve them. And once you identify your problem and solve it, you become a lot better shooter. And you start to understand what's causing low and left, what's causing trigger drift, what's causing sight alignment problems. You're going to start understanding it more and more together. So tonight's class, or tonight's video, is about 10 common and 10 not so common tips for handgun accuracy. If you ever wondered why shots are still off, even after practicing the basics, this one's for you. We break down 10 common tips that every shooter should know and 10 not so common accuracy tips that instructors don't teach you. The first one will cover the 10 that will reinforce your fundamentals. The next 10 will help you unlock next level performance. Whether you're new to shooting or you've been hitting the range for years, these tips will tighten your groups, boost your confidence, and take your shooting to the next level. Let's jump in and get more accurate. One trigger press at a time. There we go. Good. So you can always make comments this evening. We look at all comments. We answer all comments. I will ask you one thing before you go. Make sure, before we travel too much further, make sure you look at our YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribed to it. Some people subscribe, hey, Bob Robert, how are you doing, buddy? How you doing, Mr. Balmer? Appreciate you very much. Bob Balmer, going to the range, need a fresh drill. Hey, bro, got my concealed Ohio today. Only need to travel across state lines. Peace and love. I'm going to still sit back and enjoy the video. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Kurt Richards. Yes, sir. That is my cell phone number too, ending in 5048. Don't do that to me. I have to start thinking about that. Yes, Kurt Richards, that is it, my friend. Thank you for being here this evening. All right, 10 common shooting tips. These are fundamentals most shooters are told early on, but still they're critical. Number 1 is proper grip. A firm, consistent grip helps manage recoil and maintain sight alignment. This is so important for some people, and they just don't understand why the gun's wiggling so much. It's very simple. When you look at the firearm and you're getting a little bit of trigger or weapon travel, in other words, when you pull the trigger, it's not just staying still. When I shoot my pistol in the back, it doesn't get any highs or lows or ups or downs. It stays pretty flat because I'm driving with my chest muscles. I'm controlling it with my hands. My right hand holds the pistol. My left hand controls the pistol. In other words, my dominant hand is holding on to the pistol. My non-dominant hand is controlling the pistol. And that's the key thing we need to think about. We always tell you guys about the 60-40 grip. We're just trying to get you to understand you got to control the weapon with both hands. But both hands can't give us 100%. So we got to get to a point where we can control the weapon and keep the weapon level. We've talked level before, but it's imperative the gun is in control or not very slappy because it makes the gun move an awful lot. Number 2 is stance matters. Stable, balanced stance provides solid foundation for accurate shooting. This 1 foot forward, 1 foot back puts you at an angle on the gun, and it causes you to be imbalanced, right? You want your feet shoulder width apart, bouncing on your knees and pulling forward, and just putting your nose over your toes. The more you're aligned like that, you're going to be able to control the weapon a lot better because you're going to be able to suck up some of that recoil. When you're standing 1 foot forward, 1 foot back in that Weaver stance, it kind of pushes you off to the back side. What we're trying to do is transfer our weight to our toes and get our nose over our toes to control the weapon. Number 3 is sight alignment and sight picture. You got to know the difference. You got to know what sight alignment is. You got to know what sight picture is because they are 2 different things. people kind of use that same technology or the wording to think it's both it. It's not. One and the other. Sight alignment is the three dots together, if you think about it. Sight picture is where the dot is on the target. And that's kind of important for us. We got to understand the travel of a firearm. We have to travel. Think of it, the bullet doesn't fly in a super straight line. It flies in an arc. And we have to understand that to manipulate or control or be able to understand how the bullet's going to impact. Sight alignment or sight picture is that's what we talk mostly about the 6 o'clock hold, because it gives you the ability to see the target before you shoot it. Johnny, you need to go?
Yeah, I'm going to head up.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to lock the door. Guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to lock the door. The last customer's leaving. All right. It's just us now, guys. There we go. All right. So understanding sight alignment and sight picture is very important, because the alignment is the front and rear sights. And then the sight picture is focusing on your front post. That's Miss Johnson. What she want? I don't know what she means by that. So I guess I'll figure that out in a little bit. Okay, here we go. So smooth trigger press. We've talked about this many times. One of the biggest manipulation of a firearm is doing some crazy pull, jerk, wrap, do some kind of nutsy thing on the trigger. Trigger press should be straight back to avoid any disruption of aim. What we're trying to do is get that trigger straight back in our hand, so our post doesn't flip up and down or right or left, if that makes sense. One of the key things that people tend to do is they look up over the pistol to see the bullet impact. Follow through is so important, because if you don't follow through properly, it becomes a challenge for us. If you have to look to see where the bullet impacted the target, then you don't trust your aiming of the weapon itself. I don't look over the pistol when I'm shooting. I look at the sight system. I concentrate. I focus on the front post, making sure it's level with the back post. But basically, I'm really pinpoint focusing on that front post more than anything else. More than anything else. One second, guys. I apologize about this. Hello? Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Miss Johnson's asking a question. Number 6 is kind of controlling your breath a little bit. I'm not much on this breathing thing here, but I see a lot of students. I've learned a lot of. We got 3 people that gave us hearts already. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I see a lot of students when they're new to shooting that they physically hold their breath when they're shooting, because we're shooting 5 rounds at a time, and they're somewhat intimidated to be here anyways. So it kind of freaks them out a little bit. So I think if we hold our breath for the first 5, The second 5, we're going to be heaving a little bit, trying to catch our oxygen back up. So I want you to kind of avoid doing any kind of deep breathing. I want you to avoid any kind of, you know, exhaling. This they talk about this a lot when you shoot a long rifle. Take a deep breath in, take out about half of it, and then slowly let the other half go while you're engaging the trigger. I don't really think at short distances breathing is going to cause a lot of heaving, but if you hold your breath long enough, that will cause a little bit of issue. So try to work on a natural breathing effect. Because think about in a high stress situation, you're going to be breathing awful hard. You're going to be breathing. You're going to be in a high stress situation. You're going to be in a big adrenaline dump. So it's going to cause a lot of issues for you that you probably didn't even think you would have, especially in in a standard at the range thing. That's the challenge most of the time. We can't put students into a high stress or adrenaline dumping situation and put them in something like that. You can kind of play around a little bit, make them do jumping jacks, make them do push-ups and all that stuff. They're going to be breathing heavy, but they're not going to be startled. When you're startled, it's a total. When you're in a high adrenaline dump, I've told you guys before, when you're in a high adrenaline dump, your body is going to deem itself in danger, and it's going to do everything it can to survive the danger. So it is going to try to shut off everything it deems unnecessary to make you focus on the things that are necessary. This is why when you watch the scary movies and the people are falling when they're running or doing, I know it's a movie, guys, it's in the script, but there are things that happen to people when they get in high stress modes and the high adrenaline dump modes. And when we're in that scenario, that thing happens. We need to fall back to a good muscle memory. And because in a real defensive situation, you're only going to fall back to your weakest training. And if your weakest training was 2.5 years ago and you're not going to the range on a regular basis, what do you think's going to happen in a high stress situation? You're probably not going to win that battle. So we need to work as much as we can on muscle memory to become and get our shooting down to something we're proud of. Number 7 is dry fire practice. This is not being done enough. If you learned anything, well, I've learned a lot through the master class. We've done the master class 5 times. We did not do one in July because of the holidays and stuff like that. I'm taking my break. I took the month of July off for the master class. Still doing the handgun training system, but I did not do the master class for just giving it a break a little bit. And then we'll bring it back out. Okay, what's going on here? All right. There we go. So dry firing, what I'd recommend is dry firing at home. But one of the ones I recommend, we learned a lot in the actual master classes, is to dry fire at the range. Spend half the time, like say for instance, if the drill takes 20 rounds to do, you should be doing 20 dry fires before you do the 20 live fires. And then the drill, when we had the students do that stuff, it became so much more, they became more accurate really quick due to the fact that they were dry firing it before they live fired it. It's sort of like their bucket of ball, if that makes sense. You don't waste a lot of ammo dry firing. You don't waste any ammo dry firing, but you are still building a muscle memory and trigger control. You're learning trigger travel trigger travel is very helpful for us because what it does is it lets us understand how far the trigger comes back before the gun goes bang, bang. And that's kind of one of those things. Once we understand that, we know how much travel we need to put in the gun to get it comfortable to us. Number 8 is consistent point of aim. And this is one of the challenges that most people have because they don't understand 6 o'clock hole. They don't understand the travel of the bullet, and they kind of put the gun in the center of the target. Well, if it's in the center of the target, that's what's causing a lot of the high, lows, right, and left because you don't have a consistent point of aim. We use a terminology called lollipopping, which is the circle in the center of the target is the lollipop, and then your front post is the stick. So that's the way we lay it out the best we can for you. Or golf ball, golf tee is another way that you can see it. But this gives us what's considered a consistent point of aim. And consistent point of aim will start making you more accurate. Picking exactly aiming point and sticking to it for grouping consistency is one of those things that most people don't do a lot of because they are not understanding the travel of the bullet and they're trying to Kentucky windage it because they are shooting low and left or one of those things like that, which causing a lot more inconsistencies, if that makes sense. So we want a consistent point of aim. And then number 9 is focusing on your front sight. We've talked about this before, but you should get to a point where you shoot with both eyes open. And your eyes are your tactical, they are your aiming device, and your front sight is the actual focus point. Your target would be blurry. Your rear sight would be slightly blurry, but your front post would be super crystal clear. And this is going to give you the best consistent point of aim you can have when you look at front sight focus like that. And number 10 is practice with a purpose. Now, you've heard me say this before. When you practice with a purpose, you're getting something out of it. When you go to the range, grab a magazine, grab the Glock 19, load the Glock 19, load the Glock 19 with 15 rounds, and then shoot off 15 rounds, you know you're not going to be practicing with a purpose. You're just burning ammo. But if you stick to 5 rounds at a time, like I've been preaching for months and months, for years and years, the 5 shots make a difference. You can physically see the difference, and you can see your accuracy when you shoot 5 rounds at a time versus 15 rounds at a time. We cannot be as accurate when we're shooting a large amount of rounds. Then we cannot control the pistol through all 15 rounds like we can control the pistol through 5. So those are the common ones, and I don't think any of those you said, well, I've never heard that one before, John. No, those are all common. You've heard me say them before, but these are important for you guys to build your fundamentals, build your consistency, and work on a system that's repeatable, and you become more confident. Because remember, the more confident you are with a firearm, the more accurate you're going to be with a firearm. So now we're going to cover the 10 not so common tips for accuracy. These are often overlooked, but they can make a huge difference on how you shoot and how your accuracy is. One of the most important things that most people do not do really well is get that grip pressure on the support hand, which means the non-dominant hand. You can see a lot of different grips when you're at the range. I see a ton of them in here. I have cameras on each lane. I'm watching people all day, and I see the thumb crossing grip a lot, the thumb burying grip a lot, the cross thumb from behind a lot, the buried thumb totally on the slide itself, the cross your thumb on your other thumb, pushing pressure on the slide. There are a lot of different things you can do, which all are called thumbing. When you thumb a pistol, it causes a lot of inaccuracy issues. 60% of your grip should come from your non-dominant hand, but most people underutilize it because they are doing a poor grip of some kind, and that poor grip is causing you not to touch the firearm. Remember, when we do a two thumbs forward grip, the concept of two thumbs forward indexing towards the target with your thumbs is getting control on your non-dominant hand. When you block your non-dominant hand from touching a gun, anything you give the firearm, like open grip or not so much control, a firearm is a bully. And Lefty, thank you for being here. James Weber, thank you for being here. Anything you give the firearm, it's going to take. It's going to take, and it's going to be a problem for you. Lefty, we are in Southwest Florida, so it is every Tuesday night for the last 3 years at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, Lefty, yes, it'll be the same time for you, but you'll have to kind of work on your Central Standard stuff and figure out what is that, an hour, 2 hours, 1 hour? I don't know exactly what that is. But we're 6 p.m. Eastern Standard here. So whatever that calculates for you, that's when it starts every Tuesday. Oh, no problem. Lefty, where are you from, buddy? Are you new to the channel? Go ahead and let us know that. Let us know where you're from. Have you heard about the channel before? And Mr. Weber, thank you very much. Good evening to you too, sir. I'd like to know if Lefty's been here before. Give me 1 second, guys. Someone's at the front door. I'll be right back. Stay home. I didn't even ask them that. I wouldn't need it. Good luck, honey. I hope everything works for you, okay? Yeah. All right. Well, that's a challenge. A young lady from Germany said she lost her passport. She's got to fly out tomorrow morning, and she thought she left it here. She did not leave it here. So, Cedar Park, Texas, north of Austin, about 30 miles. Well, welcome, Lefty. It's the first time being on the live. And how'd you hear about it? Or were you told to get on it, or was something going on like that? Just being nosy. That's all, Lefty. We appreciate you being here, though. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, North Austin. Cedar Park, Texas. Welcome, welcome, sir. All right, so grip pressure with the support hand is imperative. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Lefty. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Prepping the trigger during presentation. This is one of those things that people don't do a lot of because it is kind of spooky at first. Prepping the trigger is bringing the trigger back as you push the gun out in front of you. Now, this can be practiced an awful lot. It's pretty easy. What we're trying to do is pull some of that trigger travel out of it as we get further, closer to full extension. And once you get to full extension, the gun fires. And then you're just doing it over and over and over again, work and reset as much as possible. Prepping the trigger during presentation is a good way to dry fire that way as well, because what it does, it helps us take some of the slack out of the trigger. If you kind of think about it, a trigger is nothing but slack and bang. And our job is to take much of the slack out as possible without manipulating the pistol and without pulling the trigger. Getting it back until bang, it goes off, and you keep the gun level. Well, bango, you're doing good. The problem is when you get the trigger back and you pull the crap out of it, you're going to manipulate the pistol, which is going to cause a lot of issues for it. Begin taking the slack out of the trigger as you extend towards the target is a good way to learn trigger travel in control of the weapon. We just got another heart. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate you guys hitting those buttons like that. We do these drills. We do these classes for you guys. I started my YouTube channel many years ago to motivate, educate, and entertain, and I hope I do that for you. That's why the ebooks are out. That's why the master class is out. That's why the handgun training system is out. I want to help you guys become the best shooters you can be. That's what I am, a firearms instructor, and I specialize in you and get you to the next level and get you comfortable, get you shooting, getting you out shooting your brother-in-law. How many want to do that? I know I did when I was shooting with my brother-in-law back in the old days before I was an instructor. He won't shoot me now. No, sir. No, sir. And I don't shoot my wife because she outshoots me too. There we go. So prepping the trigger is an important thing. I don't know many people that do that, but this is a hack of a hack of a hack. And it gives you the presentation you need. So when that weapon's out in front of you, you're able to just take just a little more pressure on that trigger and boom, boom, the gun goes off. And it's going to surprise you. The best shot you can do with a pistol is a surprise shot. That's why our new students, when they first start out shooting, they're as accurate as they can be because they're nervous as heck. And then once they get their gun, they come back and they've shot a couple times and they're not as nervous and they get a little sloppy with the trigger. Remember, we don't want to be sloppy with the trigger. We want to be in control of the trigger. Mental rehearsal before each string. A string is a count round. Basically, 5 shots is a string, right? And we need to mental rehearse what we're going to do. This is sort of like that dry fire we talked about, as well as understanding what we're looking at. The visualizing the shot sequence to improve your performance and consistency because you are expecting this to happen and you need to put the gun out in front of you to get it to happen. So now you've visually seen it. I think this is the most important thing people don't do is they don't take time to evaluate. What the hell happened? Why did I shoot those 3 shots right there and 2 that went all over the place? What the hell went on? And at that point in time, when you do this on a regular basis and begin to evaluate, guess what you can do? You can feel a crappy shot. You can feel a bad trigger pull. you can feel over gripping, over torquing. You can feel all this stuff. It happens on a regular basis. I'm having such a difficulty here with this green screen today. It is not focusing very well. There I am. It's a good way to lose weight, right? I look back, forward, I just screens, I get shorter and shorter. Green screens work good for us for these lives, but they don't do real well. They kind of wish-wash out once in a while. I apologize about that if it upsets you. So mental rehearsal between each string is a visualization of the shot sequence to improve performance and consistency. Are you wanting those bullets to go right, left, up, down, or you want them all go in the target? You want them to all go in the target? Well, we need to think about them going in the target. We can't assume that I'm not controlling the weapon properly. I need to control the weapon properly. I know I need to get proper grip. I know I need to get proper grip support. I know I need to prep the trigger. I know I need to really focus on this string to make sure all the shots go where they need to go. You know, that's the stuff we need to visually see on a regular basis to become more proficient with a pistol. You know, number 4 is dry firing at half speed. I think one of the biggest things people do is when I say, I need you to dry fire, and I watch these students dry fire, all they're doing is doing it. Okay, I dry fired 10. Did you really dry fire 10? Were you holding the gun properly to dry fire those 10s, or were you just doing it? And that's the key thing. When you dry fire and you live fire, those 20 dry fires should be just fatiguing as the live fires. Because you know, and I know, that you do not act the same when you know there's no bullets in that gun. So you need to really work on giving that weapon when you're dry firing, that unloaded pistol when you're dry firing, you need to give it as much importance, right? You need to treat it as if it's loaded, and you need to control it as much as you do. So when you drive your weapon with your chest muscles, fellas, and that's a key thing. You got to control this pistol, pushing on the back of the firearm and really working on your chest muscles, gentlemen, to control the weapon. You get very little muzzle flip at that point in time. And the less muzzle flip we have, the easier you're going to be able to control. So that's why we recommend slowing everything down builds better control and reveals flaws you miss at full speed. This is somewhat challenging for people, especially when they're dry firing just to dry fire, because John told me to dry fire and not understanding how to dry fire. Guys, if you don't know how to dry fire, my YouTube channel just got over 700 videos. They could be shorts, they could be longs, they could be lives like this. And there is a full trigger playlist, and there's some dry fire playlists that you can watch a 12-minute, 15-minute video of mine teaching you how to dry fire. There is so much knowledge in this YouTube channel. You know, the big deal for me was to get to a point where I could have a year's worth of videos that you could watch one a night, and not you'd have to get through a whole year. But now there's 700 of these things, and we've been very fortunate. You guys love them. You support us. You watch them. You comment on them. It's getting to be more. I used to comment on every video but I'm running out of time. All right, got 5 hearts. Thank you very much. People are loving this. Thank you. Get an opportunity, and you want to give us a heart, we would love that, guys. Appreciate it very much. It means a lot to me. So dry firing at half speed, doing anything at half speed, starting with slow round counts. You don't need to shoot a gun fast to be accurate. Now, you need to be accurate in a defensive situation, but when you're at the range, we don't have to worry about bullseyes. We just worry about running the gun properly and getting it. So running it at half speed is going to be a lot easier, and you're going to be to identify some of these real problems you're having. So here's one that's a little controversial, but I think it's a great one to do because it really shows a lot of different stuff. It helps us with isolation of a trigger control. It helps you feel the recoil without visual input. But we need to make sure we're using caution with this one. This is a shooting with your eyes closed. Now, you should be aware that most of your gun ranges. Hang on one second, guys. My computer's acting up. We're getting some little bit of. Let me get this thing figured out where it is. Got a little bit of an issue here. We go here. We go here. We get plugged in. Oh, I see. Wasn't already plugged in. All right. Gotta be right back. Right back. Got some pluggy issues here. All right. We go on that. There we go. Now we're charging. We're charging. So, yeah, doing that, shooting with both eyes closed is something that you need to do with an instructor. I'd recommend, because this really shows you how much manipulation you're given. How this drill is done is you take a white target, turn the target backwards, put it on the target, put it in front of you, put it at 3 yards or less, probably 2 or 3 yards, have your instructor stand behind you or have a friend stand behind you, put the gun in a full extension. You're looking through the weapon, look through your sights first, then close your eyes and slowly press the trigger. Now, if you did everything perfect, that bullet will impact exactly where you're aiming. But if it impacts lower than you're aiming, or right or left of where you're aiming, you're doing some manipulation with your hands or with your trigger finger, which causing it to over manipulate the pistol, if that makes sense. So this is something that's controversial because shooting with one eye closed is one thing. Shooting both eyes closed is somewhat of a danger zone, but it does help isolate trigger control, and it lets you feel the recoil without seeing the recoil. And this is done. We do this a lot with students that just can't understand what I mean by don't pull the trigger. It's a real easy lesson for them. Very quick, very easy for them to understand, because then they see the manipulation that's happening when they do something like that. With caution, this one, shoot with both eyes closed at close range. Make sure you get some help with this, some support of some kind. I wouldn't ask the gun range, can I go back and shoot with both eyes closed? You'll be looked at like you got three heads. If you're on here and you're one of our locals that listens to us every night, let us know you'd like to try it. We'll take you back and get you into it. It is a great learning curve. It is a great thing you can do. If you ever want to do anything like that, you can always, I don't know if you guys ever heard of blowback airsofts, but the blowback airsofts, they make almost every model of airsoft in every manufacturer. And those actually, when they pull the trigger, the slide goes back and all the stuff like that. That's a good way to train in your house without wasting ammo. And you can make a capture drape, basically. It hangs from the ceiling, and then you take the drape and stick it in a bucket, and it captures all the balls that you shoot with the airsoft in the garage. and you can work from drive. You can work from draw from the holster and do this with cardboard. There's a lot of stuff you can do. It's a good training tool. We did it a lot when we had our old shop. We were doing tack training with airsofts because we didn't have a range at the time. And then we'd go out and we had a proper that we could work on that had outdoor range, and we were able to do it from them. But it did give us the dry firing and the effect. So that gives you that. Guys, you are making comments. We are going to go back and look at all those comments. But while I'm doing this, we're just going to continue to go since me stopping and going. And when I stop and go, I get off on tangents. And Miss Johnson says I can't do that. I got to keep you guys invested through the time. So when we get done, I go back and I read everything. And I appreciate you making those comments. And we'll answer any questions you guys have. All right. Number 6 is a laser device. Some kind of laser device. There's a lot of laser tools nowadays. Guys are all coming in with the, what the hell's the name of that? I always forget the name of that. But a lot of guys are using these feedbacks. They're on your phone, and, they're all. I don't mind any of the laser stuff. I think it does give you some education. My only problem is you're not having any recoil with it. And recoil really changes a lot. When I had the, what the heck is the name of that? What's the fancy? Guys, someone give me a fancy laser thing that goes on the gun. It is called a... Anyways, but it goes on rifles, it goes on pistols, it hooks to your phone, it kind of gives you, not SIRT pistols, the Mantis. Thank you, Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson hopped in there with the Mantis. I did a bunch of videos with the Mantis, and the Mantis itself was, to me, a good thing. It did show a lot of what I was doing, and SIRT pistols, Phil, are good too. SIRT pistols give you a lot of that stuff, but the Mantis actually attached to a firearm. And I thought the Mantis was good on certain things, but I don't think the Mantis helped with recoil management until you put the Mantis on a live gun and shoot the Mantis through a live gun. Then you're getting the Mantis and you're getting recoil. And that's the one thing internally that causes a lot of our problems is recoil and recoil management. Because I got guys coming in here with the Mantis that shoot 95s and 98s and 97s and 99s at their home, dry firing, and that's just them starting to understand how to work the weapon in their home. But it doesn't correlate when they come to the range. When they come to the range and now recoil's involved, they're down to 70s. They're down to 70s, 75s, 78s, 80s. I mean, they're not anywhere near the 90s like they can without the recoil. And the recoil management is one of the things that causes our body to flinch and cause a lot of problems. I told you before, there's a monster in every one of us, and technically it doesn't want to be in the range. It doesn't like the recoil. It doesn't like the bang, and we got to shut it down. We got to shut it up and say, hey, we run the gun. You don't run the gun. Because indoors, it's a lot different than outdoors. If you're an indoor shooter, you kind of feel the recoil. You kind of feel the concussion of the bullets coming off the wall. You feel the concussion from the guy next to you shooting. You can get some of his casings hitting you because we have hard walls and they're between each lane. But if he's standing where he needs to stand and it comes over the wall and hits you in the head, that's a lot of things you're not used to. And the Mantis can't do that. So that's kind of one of the deals. I tell you, dry firing is important, but live firing and dry firing together is probably one of your biggest aha moments you can have. You know what an aha moment is? That's the moment when you realize, that's what the fat guy's been saying this whole time. Yes, that's what I've been saying this whole time. You need to listen. You need to dry fire, and then you need to live fire. And it's going to make a big difference because you keep doing the same shit and you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. You can't do that. You got to improve. You got to improve. You got to improve. And the only way to improve is to understand what you're doing wrong. That's what the whole channel is about. That's what the masterclass is about. That's what the handgun training system is about. That's what the ebooks are about. Understanding what you're doing wrong and fix it. And fix it for good. Done. Never have that problem again. And then when you do have a problem, you automatically understand what it is. Isn't that great? Wouldn't that be something everyone would want? Because when you can come to the range and now become 90% accurate, 90% out of 100 rounds, 10 of them weren't where they wanted to go. And I guarantee you, if I take half the students that on a regular basis comes in the range, they're about 40% accurate. And the reason why they're 40% accurate is because they don't understand what's causing the manipulation, or they accept low and left and they adjust to be high and right to impact low and left. Is that the way to learn to shoot a pistol? Absolutely not. Because the one day, the one time, the one issue that you shoot high and right and you don't pull the trigger, where's that bullet going? Out in the public, out of control. And you're responsible for that bullet that hits the ground. And that hurts, maims, kills, paralyzes somebody that you did not mean to shoot. You got a real problem on your hands. Wouldn't it be better just to learn to shoot the pistol accurately? And most likely those pistols that we have, every one we've ever owned, every crappy, every cheap gun we've ever bought is 10 times more accurate than they'll ever be. Has nothing to do with the fire. From a high point, from a Jennings all the way to a high-end Staccato, right? Those $3,500 1911s, guy last week came into the range and was shooting low and left with a $3,500 gun. And he thought the low and left was because of a cheap Taurus that he had. And I told him, it ain't the gun. It ain't the gun. It's you. It's you doing something wrong. You manipulating the pistol. You causing the problems. He couldn't understand. I tell him every week, don't put your finger far on the gun. Put that gun over your dominant eye, not over your nose. Turn your chin to marry your weapon and your eye together. Stop standing in a high staggered stance. Get your feet shoulder width apart. Every week I tell him. And then he shoots a little bit when I'm in there. He shoots good. And I walk away. He goes right back to the shit he's doing. And then he comes back and can't understand. He wants me to adjust the sights again. It's not the sights. I walk him back. I take a Staccato and I shoot 15 rounds in the hole. In the hole. And then he goes, oh, I guess it isn't the gun. I'm like that dog. And my aunt had a Cadillac. She had a Cadillac and she had Chihuahuas. And I never been little 5, 7, 8-year-old guy. And that little Chihuahua was in the back with the bouncy head. And that's all it did. She drove the car and that Chihuahua just bounced its head around. That's what this guy's doing, bouncing his head around, trying to listen. I'm listening, but I'm not paying attention. Oh, I'm not paying attention, but I'm not listening. It's not the pistol. It's you. And you can solve this if you just listen. Right? And that's the important part of everything. We got to get a system, a repeatable system that you personally can repeat and win with. All right, got 5 hearts. Thank you very much. Appreciate that very much. Let's see if we can get 7 tonight. Okay, hit the heart down below. We appreciate you very much. Laser feedbacks, they do help you in training. It shows you slight movements during trigger press. We need to press the trigger back without manipulating the pistol or the sights. We need to press the trigger back without manipulating the trigger without manipulating the pistol or the sights. Because the more we move the sights, the more we move bullet impact. Number 7 is calling your shots. Train yourself to know where each shot lands before you check the target. This is one of those things that most people just accept. If I'm aiming in a target and it hits 1.5 inches to 2 inches to 5 inches low, you're just accepting that as where the bullet's going to impact. If you were aiming in the center of the circle and it lands at the bottom of the circle, bottom low left of the circle, 8-inch paper plate, if you cut the 8-inch paper plate in quadrants, north, south, east, west, you have 4 pie pieces there. If you aim in the center of the paper plate and all of your bullets are in the left quadrant, low left quadrant, you're manipulating the pistol with finger in the trigger, over manipulation with your right hand. You could be doing under manipulation with your left hand. You could be pulling the trigger. You could be over torquing. You could have the gun over your nose and not over your dominant eye. There are multiple reasons why that weapon is shooting in a low left quadrant like that. If you're right-handed and right-eye dominant, majority of those students shoot low and left. If you're left-handed and right-eye dominant, most of those students shoot something to the right. If you're shooting high right or high left, you're not focusing on your post in front. You're only focusing on the front post. You're not looking at the back post. That's got that gun at a high rise. If the gun is at a low rise, it's going to shoot low. So these are things that you need to understand. So when you train yourself to know where each shot should land before you check the target, it's going to be a lot easier for you. One of the easiest drills I can give you on that is a white paper drill. White paper, one shot at a time. Put it out in front of you. Focus on the first shot first, and then move your waist left and right and put the 5 shots out there. If you're doing it properly, you should have 5 shots in a horizontal line. And if you're able to do the 5 shots in a horizontal line, you were able to keep that weapon level as you went through, and you used your waist to aim the gun. Most people use their arms to aim the gun, not their waist. Now you got those 5 holes there. Now your job is to put another bullet in that hole. And this kind of gets you understanding slow trigger press, keeping the weapon level, keep it up in your line of sight. A lot of stuff causes people not to shoot exactly the same each time. And it's not your fault. There's a lot of things going on. We have grip, we have trigger control, we have sight picture, we have dip in our head. We're bringing our head to the gun instead of the gun to our head. That's kind of one of those deals. There's a ton of things you are doing to manipulate the pistol. But if you're pulling the trigger or doing anything, and you did that first line, and you did the second line, and those bullets are all below the first line, well, you've done some manipulation of the pistol. And the cool thing about it, once you start identifying what you're doing wrong, then you can fix it. Then you can go, oh my God. So that's the cool thing. When I do a class with a student, these are new students. They haven't shot a pistol ever. And when they start identifying what they're doing wrong with the gun, it's such an education for them, because they just thought it's just pull the trigger. The bullet's going to go exactly where I'm aiming. And they find out very quickly that I am doing an awful lot to this pistol. The pistol's not doing a bunch to us, you know. Number 8 is using a wall drill. The wall drill is a good drill because it helps you identify, especially in dry firing. You're going to practice trigger control by pointing your weapon at a white wall or a white piece of paper, and just slowly engage that trigger in dry firing. You will see Your sight manipulate or bobble. If your sight bobbles, then you're not controlling the weapon well enough. You need to do as many of those white wall drills as possible because that'll help you tremendously uh, understand what manipulation is happening. People don't see the bobble when they're in the range, maybe because of low light conditions, maybe because the just the noise and everything else like that. But when you get that trigger back in a slow press or a slow cadence, I'll give you a little tip. And this will help you. If you guys are really having problems with trigger press, let's work on a cadence. Let's work on a speed. I give you the press drill, which is a good drill. And then all it is I want you to put the trigger out in front of you. And I want you to bring the trigger back while spelling the word press. P-R-E-S-S. And what you're doing when you do that, you're P-R-E-S-S. And by the time that the second S goes, the gun's going to fire. And now you're starting to feel that trigger travel and how much we need to get it back before it's about to fire. And once you learn that, it becomes so much easier for you to understand. I need to take some. Remember, we talked about that just a bit ago. We talked about taking some of the slack out of it, taking the slack out of the trigger, or presenting it towards the target while removing some of the hesitation or slack out of it. This helps us tremendously because now we're not engaging a full trigger press anymore. We're doing a half a trigger press, which in turn will be a lot easier for us. The wall drill is a great drill. If you don't know what that is and you want to see it, we have a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel has all of our drills. There's drills you need to know, and the wall drill is in there. In the master class, there is a dry fire drill, and that dry fire drill has the wall drill in it as well. Plus the drip penny drill, plus the pencil drill, plus there's a lot of different drills, and those are all video based. So you'll be able to see it, you'll be able to hear it, and you'll be able to repeat it, which in turn lets you consume it a lot easier and a lot better. All right. Number 9 is grip reset between your grip reset between shots. After recoil, quickly check and reset your grip pressure before the next shot. I see this a lot in new students. What they end up doing is they call it milking, where they squeeze their hands back and forth together. It's imperative when someone's shooting 15 rounds, we need to control our grip as much as possible. And you may need to reset your grip a little bit, because if you're shooting 15 rounds out of that gun, trust me, your grip is going to suck. Trust me. When you are shooting 5 rounds, your grip doesn't suck. It may suck at the beginning because you don't know how to grip a primer, but you're still, with the suckiest grip ever, you're still going to be able to control 5 rounds. None of us can control 6 through 15. We're about fatigued at about 10, and then the last 5 shots are going all over the place. All over the place. So, and the problem with that is consistency at 5 shots makes us accurate. Shooting 15 makes bad habits. And the bad habits causes inaccuracy. And that's what we're trying to solve as much as possible. So get a grip you can control through 5 rounds. And it's 2 thumbs forward. It's a good solid grip. If you think about your hands, your right hand, if you're right-handed, is holding onto the pistol, and your left hand is controlling the pistol. Get a good 60-40 grip, push out in front of you, drive with your chest muscles, gentlemen, drive with your pecs. You want to feel what that feels like, take your hands, put them out in front of you, bring your hands together and squeeze as hard as you can. You'll feel your pecs kick in. That's how you're supposed to control a weapon. Your pecs are controlling the weapon, not your hands. If it's a woman, you take your right hand, push it out, and pull back with your non-dominant hand, which kicks in your back muscles, and that's how you're going to control the weapon. Those are the ways we teach students here, and they control the weapon. And whether you're 11 years old or you're 98, which we had a 98-year-old woman here shooting She shot the 9mm with no issue because I taught her how to drive the weapon. Pretty impressive, really. She looked like she was probably 70, but she was in her 90s. Incredible. Wonderful one. All right. Number 10 is train weak hand and train one-handed. One-handed shooting is one of those things that we are going to have to know how to do. In the masterclass, week 4, we work on real-world situations, and we teach you a technique of shooting one-handed. It is something that you need to know because sooner or later, if you ever got in a situation you lost your dominant hand, you're going to not be out of the fight. You need to be able to figure out how to get back into the fight while using your non-dominant. Surprisingly, we change our sight system a little bit, and we start using the back of the firearm more than the sights, and it makes this more accurate because we're using the gun as a pointing device, not an aiming device, and it becomes so much easier for you. What that means, really honestly, is we use the back of the firearm. I'm looking at that, and I put that in the center of the target and give me this little we cant the weapon at a little angle. And when you cant the weapon, it helps with recoil management as well. So there's a lot of stuff in our YouTube channel. There is a full video of me doing a class and working on loading my magazine, racking my slide one-handed, and doing all that stuff. So you just got 20 of the common and 20 of the non-common products and systems and tips. Accuracy isn't about hitting the target. It's about control, discipline, and understanding why each shot lands where it does. You've got 10 rock-solid fundamentals and 10 advanced under-the-radar techniques that most shooters overlook. Master these, you master your group. You'll shrink your groups will shrink, your confidence will rise, and you'll stop wasting ammo and stop chasing random results. You want to keep improving? You want to join the handgun training system or sign up for our next masterclass? There'll be links down below for that. What you get in the handgun training system is you get weekly drills, you get personal feedback, you have proven path to precision. It's all waiting for you. All you got to do is make a decision that I want to be the best shooter I can this summer and join one of these programs that will continuously challenge you and make you a better shooter. We have taken the handgun training system that you personally get to work with me through 4 training videos, 4 training homeworks, 4 PDF PowerPoint presentations, and you get 4 downloadable targets, and you get my personal feedback from me, all for only $29.99. This is a steal. It gives you the ability to work towards mastering your handgun and becoming the best shooter you can be. If you want to learn more or sign up for it, there'll be a description in the link below. What do you have to do each week? You have to be on a call at 5:45 on Monday nights, Eastern Standard Time. During that call, we're going to discuss that week's training. It's going to be a drill of some kind. We're going to go why it's important, how to shoot it, pro tips on how to become more accurate with it, and let you start identifying the positives and the negatives, and then turn in your target. Then we will discuss your homework, and I will give you up-to-date feedback on what I think you need to do to solve this accuracy issue you're having. And it's all for only $30, $29.99 for 4 weeks. You really think about it, I'm nuts. I'm crazy to do it for that money because I get a standard training class out of my store in the fall. I'm like $150. During the summer, we do them for $99 just for the purpose of it. And you're getting it 4 weeks with me for $30. My wife doesn't understand it. She's upset. But at the end of it, it's a passion of mine. And I want to get as many people as possible to tell other people about it and become a better shooter. So that's my presentation for this evening. We're going to go up and answer some questions that were brought through when we were doing all this stuff. Let's go ahead and say goodnight to people and get the heck out of here. All right. So, Phil, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Bandit, as always, thank you, sir. Kurt Richards, thank you very much. Bob Bomber says he's going to the range. Need a fresh drill. Hey, bro, I got my CCW Ohio today. Only need it when traveling across state lines. Peace and love. Going to sit back and enjoy the video. Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you, man. You're awesome. Kurt Richards, hey, is your phone ending in? Yes, 5048. 5048, Kurt Richards, thank you. Fun, yep, okay. No CCW charge or classes needed for an honorable vet in Ohio. Did not know that when I went there, and I did it all the way using the US. Yep. Florida has that same thing, but you've got to remember one thing. It's very important. Like in Florida, is the military did not teach you any Florida laws. So, Rob, if you're use that, you better make sure that you understand all of the Ohio's laws. Florida's a little weird. They have some transit laws here. We have cops from all over the United States that are here. And they have laws similar to Florida, but not exactly. In Florida, some states have what's called misdemeanor handgun laws. Florida doesn't have that. So we've got to make sure everything with a firearm in Florida is either first, second, or third degree felonies. So you better make sure you understand the laws and regulations. It's great that you are a vet and you're able to do that, but make sure you understand every law in Ohio to protect yourself, sir. And in any state you live in. Thank you. Kurt Richards, my father-in-law came to visit this past weekend from North Carolina. Beautiful. That's awesome. Spend time with him, man. Enjoy it. James Weber, good evening, John. Thank you, James. James is one of our students in the master class. Lefty, thank you very much from Texas. We appreciate you being here. From Cedar Park, Texas. Kurt Richards, my father-in-law is an Army vet. He shot well, but I did you proud. He outshot his father-in-law. Very good, very good. Inch and a half, 10 yards and 15 yards. That's good shooting, buddy. Miss Johnson, thank you for always being there with us, honey. I appreciate you. Phil Phil's one of our guys that are doing the handgun training system, and he's been doing it for a couple months now, so we appreciate him being there. Bob says, I couldn't hit the percentage of the handgun, maybe rifle. I'll keep training. Speaking of 1911, I miss mine. Sold it. Yeah, they're nice. 1911s are nice. Kurt Richards says, one of the drills that helped me a lot doing is the line drill. Yeah, that's a great drill. If you don't know what that is, guys, the line drill is a black line on a white piece of paper. And what he does is you put it out in front of you. You got to put that in your line of sight. So that's the one thing I think students mess up the most is they aim at that X in the middle of the target. That's more in the guts than it is in the upper body. So if you see those targets up behind my backdrop there, and you see that big red circle in the center. Well, that circle in the center is probably the upper top of the guts, where I have most of my students work on that top. If you looked at the circle there on those black white targets in the back, there is a 987. You want to work on that top 987 quadrant up there, more in the center of the target. That helps out tremendously. I shoot a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 with iron sights. I fully understand the horizontal 5-round impact. Yeah, there we go. Good. I'm glad you like that drill, Kurt. I really do. Eduardo said, I'm lefty. I'm slapping my shots to the right. How can I correct this? Do you know your dominant eye, Eldorado? I'm sorry. Do you know if your right eye dominant or left eye dominant? So here's the deal. If you are if you're left-handed and left eye dominant, you must marry the weapon and the eye together. So if you are left-handed and right eye dominant, he's right eye dominant. So what you need to do is, instead of keeping the weapon on your left side, move the firearm to your right eye, and then turn your chin just a little bit to get your eye over the pistol. You're going to turn your chin to the right, and what you're doing is marrying the weapon and the eye together. And then what we want to do is we want to use the tip of our finger to engage the trigger, not the crease. And the more crease we put in the gun, the more it's going to go off to the right if you're left-handed. So what we're going to do is you're going to take the weapon and bring it out in front of you, then rotate it over your dominant eye, and then you're going to move your chin to get your eye and weapon lined up together. And the more we have the weapon and eye lined up together, the more you're levelly over the pistol, and then work on a slow, continuous press until the weapon fires with the tip of your finger. This is the easiest way I can give you to get you over the pistol. If you're standing in any kind of stance besides shoulder width apart, if you're standing 1 foot back, it becomes a little more challenging because of the angles you put on the thing. And we just need to really take our time and get that trigger back in a slow cadence. Slow cadence. Remember, I mentioned a little while ago about when you press the trigger, you want to bring it back in a cadence that you can control. Whether you do a countdown, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the gun cuts. And all you're doing there, guys, is you're applying pressure as you're counting down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and the shot should fire at that point in time because you're taking the slack out. The problem with most students is they get excited, and the guy inside here, the monster, wants to get the hell out of here. So you start getting into that. Now, Elle, are you putting 5 rounds at a time in? Or are you putting 15 rounds in? Are you putting high capacity mags, or are you sticking to 5 rounds? You stick to 5 rounds, turn your chin to the right, get the weapon over your right eye. You're going to be control this weapon without any kind of issue, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. All of you, thank you very much for being here. I want to wish you all a happy 4th of July. We're going to be moving during the 4th, but that's okay. Remember, I want you to count your fingers. You have 5 going in on one hand, 5 going in on the other the 4th of July. I want to make sure you come out of the 4th of July with 5 and 5. Fireworks are fun. Fireworks are dangerous as a firearm if you don't know what you're doing. So please, please, please be careful on the 4th of July and understand that there is a lot to do with and what it's about. It's about the independence. It's about the sacrifices that people have made to allow us to be in this beautiful country. God bless the USA. God bless you guys. And just remember, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line defense. Until next week, God willing, Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, be here. Or be square. Good night, guys. I love you. Bye-bye.